A very good noon to one and all. So now we'll discuss the new topic interferometry. So now introduction to interferometry. Before entering to the interferometer concept, we have to know about the interference. Suppose when a wavelength of light as a standard of measurement possess the advantage of being accurate and very small unit of measure. So the wave nature of light is ever present but not apparent under ordinary conditions. So only when the light waves interact with each other, the wave effect is visible and thus made use of for measuring purposes. So the phenomenon of interaction of light is called interference. So when the light is made to interfere, it produces a pattern of dark bands which correspond to very accurate scale of divisions. The value of this scale is exactly one half wavelength of light is used. So because this length is so constant, so it was used to be considered as international standard of length in a few years ago. Okay, so the use of interferometric technique enables the which sizes of the slip gauges and end bars to be determined directly in terms of wavelength of light sources whose relationship to the international krypton standard is known to the high order of accuracy. So now monochromatic lights, so the light is in the form of energy by the electromagnetic waves which may be represented by a sine curve or sine wave. So the high point of the wave is called crest and the low point is called trough. The distance between the two crests or two troughs is called the wavelength lambda. The light travels along the axis OX as shown in this figure, and the time taken in traveling one wavelength, that means is called time period. So the maximum disturbance of the wave is called amplitude, and the velocity of transmission is lambda by t, capital T. So frequency is being 1 by t. Okay, so a ray of ordinary light can be considered as composed of an infinite number of wavelengths. The value of wavelength is determines the color of light and the amplitude determines with the intensity of light. So white light, generally white light is a light ray. It's a combination of all colors of visible spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That means Vigboid. So each color band consists of a group of similar wavelengths. Since the white light is the combination of all wavelengths of the visible spectrum, so it is not in the form of suitable length measurements by interferometry. To overcome this difficulty, monochromatic light source such as mercury isotope 198 discharge lamp is used. So a ray having a single frequency and the wavelength produces a monochromatic light. So these the advantages of the monochromatic lights are its characteristics are virtually independent of any ambient conditions. So its wavelength has precise value, it is exactly reproducible, and it has accuracy of about 1 part in 100 million. Okay, these are the different examples of the the advantages of the monochromatic light. Now we will discuss about the principle of interference. So as I stated earlier, light is a form of energy being propagated by electromagnetic waves, which may be represented by a sine curve. So when two rays of same wavelength meet at a some point, a mutual interference occurs, and the nature of interference will depend upon the phases of two waves at their meeting point. If the waves are in same phase, they will reinforce each other, and the resulting intensity will be the sum of the two intensities. However, if two waves are out of phase, the resultant intensity will be the difference of two. If both the waves having same amplitude and are in the phase, the resultant amplitude and hence the intensity becomes twice, and the result will be the bright spot. However, if these two waves with the same amplitude are out of phase, then the resultant intensity will be the zero, and the result will be the dark spot. So if both waves having the same amplitude are in phase, then the intensity becomes twice. That means bright spot will appear. If the two waves having the same amplitude are out of phase, the resultant intensity will be zero, and the result will be the dark spot. Okay, so the interference can occur only when two light rays are coherent, that is, the two rays maintain their phase relationship for an appreciable length of time. So this is possible only when the two rays are originated from the same point of light source at the same time. Okay, I hope everyone understand the concept of interference. Now, light sources of interferometry, to obtain the interference over large path differences, it is essential to use a source with very narrow lines. It means that the temperature and pressure of the discharge may be low, and so that the surface brightness will be moderate. A wide variety of light sources is available for the interferometry concept. The selection of proper source for an application depends on the results to be obtained by the interferometry, and costs and convenience also observed. For simple applications like testing of surface geometry, where the difference between the interfering path is of the order of few wavelengths only, a tungsten lab with the filter transmitting only a narrow band of wavelength would be adequate. However, the sophisticated application requires the use of light sources such as these light rays, such as with mercury 198, cadmium, krypton 86, thallium, helium, hydrogen, neon, sodium, potassium, zinc, laser mixed with some radiations, etc. So in these sources, the discharge lamp is charged with one particular element and contains means to vaporize them. So the atoms of these elements are excited electrically, so that they emit radiation at certain discrete wavelengths. So these are the light sources of interferometry. So coming to the main concept, interferometers. So the interferometer incorporates the extension of the application of optical flat. So in the previous class we are clearly observed about the optical flat. So it is the extension of optical flat concept. Its use overcomes the disadvantages of optical flat by incorporating refined arrangement. So interferometers are optical instruments which are used for measuring the flatness and determining the length of slip gauges. Okay, so they are based upon the interference principle and employ wavelength of light as their measuring units. So the interferometers make use of some type of beam divider that splits an incoming ray into two parts. So here in this interferometer, beam divider is there, so the rays are divided into two parts. So these two parts of rays travel along the different parts until they are recombined, usually in the same beam divider. So in interferometers, the lay of the optical flat can be controlled and the fringes can be oriented to the best advantage. So secondly, an arrangement to view the fringes directly from the top and above the fringes is also incorporated in this interferometers. So coming to this in detail, types about the interferometers. So various types of interferometers are Michelson interferometer, Fabry-Perot interferometer, fringe counting interferometer, NPL flatness interferometer, and next Pitter NPL gauge interferometer, Zeiss gauge block interferometer, multiple beam interferometer, and laser interferometer. So these are the different types of interferometers. So in our syllabus we will discuss Michelson interferometer, NPL flatness interferometer, Pitter NPL gauge interferometer. So these three interferometers will discussed in our syllabus. So one by one, and Zeiss block so one by one we'll discuss in these lectures, coming lectures. So in this lecture, one interferometer will be discussed. So first one is a Michelson interferometer. So this is the Michelson interferometer diagram. So in this it is the light source, it utilizes the monochromatic light from an extended source. So this is the oldest type of interferometer. Here the monochromatic light falls on the beam splitter D. So see this diagram. So a monochromatic light source falls on the beam splitter, so which consists of a semi-reflecting layer. So thus the light ray is divided into two parts. Light ray is divided into two parts. One is transmitted through the compensating plate. One is transmitted to the compensating plate and to the mirror M1, and other is reflected through the beam splitter to the mirror 2, fixed mirror 2. So from both these mirrors the rays are reflected back, and these are reunite at the semi-reflecting surface from where they are transmitted to the human eye, and thus the fringes are observed. Okay, so interference will takes place and reunited there, then interference will be takes place and the detection will be observed by using the human eye. So here mirror M2 is fixed and mirror M1 is movable, and it is attached to the object whose dimension is to be measured. So this is the concept of Michelson interferometer. So this is the working of the Michelson interferometer. So once again I will tell about this Michelson interferometer. So here a monochromatic light source from the extended source is used, and which falls on a beam splitter which consists of a semi-reflecting layer. So the light ray is divided into two parts from the reflecting layer. So one is transmitted through the compensating plate to the mirror M1, and other is reflected to the mirror M2. So from these both mirrors the light rays are reflected back and those are reunited at one place. So those reunited, that means interference will appear in the ground glass screen by using the eye detector. So mirror here in this diagram, mirror M2 is fixed and mirror M1 is movable, and it is attached both and it is attached to the object whose dimensions are to be measured. So this is the Michelson interferometer. And in the next class we will discuss about this NPL flatness interferometer and Pitter NPL gauge interferometer. So I hope everyone understand this interference concept and interferometry concept and principle of interference. What are the monochromatic lights, why monochromatic lights are used. Okay, so I hope everyone understand this. So why monochromatic lights are used in the interferometry works, and not for the not why we are not using the white light means the white color is a combination of all colors of the visible spectrum, that means red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. So each color band consists of a group of similar wavelengths, and since the pitch of interference fringes will different for each, so the interference fringes formed will be the mixture of all. So it becomes very difficult to distinguish the various dark and bright fringes. So the whole pattern looks quite blurred, and as the air gap between the optical flat and the surface to be tested increases, so air gap will be increases in between the optical flat and the surfaces, so it becomes absolutely impossible to distinguish the dark and bright fringes at any one point. So to overcome this difficulty, monochromatic light source is used in the interferometry work. Okay, I hope everyone, in case of monochromatic light, the spread of wavelength is very small and the fringes are formed at considerable separations of optical flat and the surface. The interference fringe pattern is thus much more clearly defined. So that's why we are using the monochromatic light instead of white light. Okay, I hope everyone understand this concept. Okay, stay home, stay safe. Thank you. Bye.